when eXp's model is first explained to you, if you're anything like me and like many others, and I know, Jay and Ashley, this was your story because I've kind of read the testimonial of what happened when you watched the video for the first time. There's a couple of things that will strike you about what eXp does for agents. And much of that can be summarized in that statement on the slide that says, eXp gives agents an exit plan. What's an exit plan? It just means that you don't have to work as an estate agent for the rest of your life, and the moment you stop working, you stop earning. eXp's model was specifically designed by Glenn to give agents the opportunity to build up income, passive income, and an asset base that can replace the income that you have to produce sales at the moment to produce. Okay, there's two ways that the exit plan comes to us. The first is by building a shareholding, which is a dollar-based shareholding in the company. So as I will explain a little bit later, eXp is listed on one of the major stock exchanges of the States, and we as eXp agents get given shares in the company. You say, well, how does that work? I'm going to explain how that works. Can I just see a show of hands? How many eXp agents you've got shares in the company? Look at that. Don't you want to be a shareholder? Well, you can be. The second way, and that dollar-based shareholding can grow over time to be a significant asset sitting in US dollars. Second one is through the revenue sharing system, which I will explain in detail today. This is a system whereby Glenn, as he launches the business, he says, you know what? If the agents are the owners of the company, which is what I want them to be, then the agents need to participate in the revenues of the business. So if you're an agent with, I don't want to pick on anyone, but let's just take a well-known brand, Seif or a Pam Golding or a whatever. You do a deal, what does the franchise take from you? They call it a split. They take a split on your transactions, right? Normally 50%, maybe 40% if you're on a very special deal, maybe a 30 or a 20, but a lot of agents on a kind of 50-50 or a 60-40. So they take, say, 40% of your commissions, and what do they do with that money? Short answer is they keep it. Isn't that true? They're not going to give any of that back to you, or they're not going to give it to anybody else in the office. Well, what Glenn said is no. The company, globally, is going to make revenues now to the tune of like $4 billion a year. We're taking revenues on the business. We are going to share those revenues with the agent population. We're going to share the revenues with the owners of the company. Such a simple system. And it has sparked what has become the fastest growing real estate company in history. The company is 15 years old, give or take, and it's now got 89,000 agents in 24 countries. Everywhere it goes, the US, Canada represented here, South Africa, it has done what it's doing in South Africa. The fastest growing real estate company in South Africa's history now. Thank you, Jay. Because the agents are incentivized correctly. Just work with human nature. So we share the revenues of the business with you. How does that work? I'm going to explain how that works later on today. Okay. That's the exit plan. The other thing you're going to notice, which is, it's slightly softer this, but it is very attractive to most estate agents. Because if you're anything like me, you are entrepreneurial by nature. You don't like someone looking over your shoulder, nitpicking you, setting targets for you, telling you they want the spreadsheet of how many listings you've done this week and how many phone calls you made this week and how many doors did you knock on, how many flyers did you print out, and did you go and see that client? I mean, does anybody here like being micromanaged? Well, unfortunately, in a lot of real estate companies, that's how the agents are treated. They're micromanaged. Well, with eXp, you get to be an independent contractor. You essentially run your own business on eXp's platform, and yet you have all the benefits of having a world-class technology platform to run your real estate business on and the most collaborative culture in real estate. And yet, that you're going to learn is true. eXp agents are famously collaborative all around the world. It's because we're all owners of the company and nobody's working for anybody else. I've got 760 people in my revenue share team. It's only small. We are going to get bigger. It's going to keep growing. But even with the 760 I've got now, I'm not anybody's boss. I can't tell anybody what to do. I mean, forbid the day that I phone Alette and ask her how many listings have you. I mean, it doesn't even exist in our culture. You've got all the freedom of being independent without having to start a real estate company and have a trust account and the audits and all of the expenses and all of the stuff that it takes to run a real estate company. Jay, I love your energy, brother. I love your energy. I'd never met Jay. Came for dinner last night. Halfway down Highwick Drive, I heard him. Come on, brother! Coming down the road. Love you, my brother. I'm going to be in your life for the rest of your life. Get used to me. Okay. So if you get a chance, look, Glenn will obviously be busy. Lots of people want to talk to Glenn. But if you get a chance, come and say hi to Glenn. Don't hog too much of his time, but introduce yourself. It's wonderful that he's come to spend this 2 days with us. Glenn started the business in, was it 2009? Glenn, 2009. And Glenn had been a very successful real estate team leader. He had a $60 million Keller Williams team. But at that time, he did everything in the cloud. It's prescient. He was a visionary. I mean, this is the day, there were no webinars in those days, no Google meetings, no Zoom. And yet Glenn said, you know what? I can see where real estate is going. It's going online. We're not going to need bricks and mortar. And all of this expense that's wrapped up in the traditional model of real estate is unnecessary. So he was running his Keller Williams team completely in the cloud. 2008, if you remember that time, if you were in real estate, big shakeup globally. He took the opportunity to say, okay, I'm going to try this. I've got a vision for a company that's going to be completely cloud-based. It's going to be owned by the agents. We're going to share the revenues of the company with the agents, and I'm going to build this thing. Eventually, it became what eXp is today. You think about this. eXp is now, so 2024, 20, how old are we? 15 years old. 15 years old, and that's nothing. For those of you who've been in business for longer than 15 years, which by the look of it is most of you, I'm joking. Not you, Neil. You were still at prep school 15 years ago. 15 years is nothing in the lifespan of a business. In 15 years, Glenn started eXp in America. You know how big the American economy is. It is mammoth compared to South Africa. We've got 40,000 estate agents. They've got 1.6 million estate agents, somewhere in that region. It's mammoth. The competition is unbelievably fierce. He's coming into the Keller Williamses of the world, the Remaxes of the world. 15 years later, eXp is the largest real estate company in America on transaction count. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Why? Because the model is right. That's why. Okay, so thank you, Glenn, for starting the business. eXp South Africa, there's an eXp South Africa table in the foyer. Go and introduce yourself. We've got transaction specialists. That's Andrew at the top left-hand corner. You can come and introduce yourself to Andrew. There's an entire team. I'm not going to go through all of them. Many of them are here over these 2 days. Go and ask them, how does the company work? How does transactional support work? How does training work? Go and ask them. They're here. They're an unbelievably efficient team. We are in great hands with the staff of eXp South Africa. Okay, what I want to do is I want to compare for you the traditional model of real estate with this disruptive model that Glenn came up with, because this really was a disruptor. Let's just get in our minds what a disruptor is. In our day and time, disruptors are typically technology-based. So you've got the traditional taxi industry where you step into a sidewalk in New York and you say, taxi, and the guy pulls over. What does Glenn do when he gets to my home last night for our dinner? It's time to go back to his hotel. What does he do? Yeah, pulls out his phone, he orders an Uber. Now, I know Uber have got a few little models whereby they help people get vehicles, but just in principle, Uber do not own one vehicle. Do you understand? What made it's like destroyed the taxi industry. Why? Because it's a clever piece of technology. So give me another example of that. Netflix is a great example. Do you remember? So I had 3 little kids in the time of the DVD store. Do you remember taking 3 children? You've only got 2 hands. Okay, that's the first complexity. You go into Mr. Video, Gabriel Road in Plumstead, and there's just people everywhere. It's carnage. And there was like the picture of the DVDs, and then in the slots underneath, there were maybe 2, there's 1 left. You look across the aisle, you see some other look at it, and you know what he's looking at, I know what I'm looking at, and you're sprinting. Total carnage in the video store. You would be hard-pressed as Ian Botha. Ian, where's Ian? Ian owned one of the last, there's Ian in the back there. Ian owned one of the last DVD stores in Cape Town. Retro, old school. But in the end it went. Impossible, hey Ian? Impossible to fight against live streaming. There are no DVD stores in the world today. A multi-billion-dollar business, Blockbuster in America, went completely bankrupt, and Netflix is now worth X dollars. Okay, so this is what eXp are doing. They've come in with technology that has completely disrupted the industry. So, traditional model, right at the top of this kind of pyramid-shaped model, which the whole industry is working with, you've got the owner of the business, or owners, depending on how the structure works. But let's take Keller Williams as an example. Again, I'm not picking on any particular company here. I'm just taking well-known companies. Keller Williams is a great business. They've done a wonderful thing around the world. So who owns Keller Williams? Do the agents own it? Do they all have a piece of the ownership? No. Who owns it? Gary Keller owns Keller Williams. Congratulations, Gary Keller built an amazing business. Kudos to him. But if you're a Keller Williams agent, you do not own a share in the business. So there's the owner. Then what the owner does, if they want to expand aggressively, they have some kind of international headquarters. Okay, first layer of bricks and mortar. There's an office there somewhere. That office has got insurance. It's got major expenses associated, like staff and desks and internet and coffee machines and the like. So you've got brick and mortar layer there at an international level. What they do then is they are now expanding the business around, if you're in America, around all the states of America. And then you go to South Africa and you go to France. And you set up regional head offices. So if you want to go to, I don't know where Keller Williams' head office in South Africa is, but I know Remax is down the road from me in Plumstead there. They've got some kind of head office structure in the country or in the state that they're in. Bricks and mortar. More staff, more expenses every month. What do those regional guys do? And this is true even of the local real estate companies like a Pam Golding or a Seif or a Javits or whatever. There's a leadership in the country, and what's their job as head office? They sell franchises. That's their job. So they sell franchises all around South Africa. Those people pay a fee for that, and then they have to, in their franchise agreement, they have to have certain, like they have to have an office on a front street. They have to spend so much on advertising. It has to be prominent. Now, I want you to just do a little rough mental calculation in your head. If you would add up how much is spent on bricks and mortar by, let's take Remax as an example. So the international head office, the regional offices, all of the franchises on the corner of every street in South Africa and 100 other countries around the world. All the rent, all the staff, all of the insurance, all of the electricity, etc. If you added all of that up, how much would it be? Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars a year. Got a lady in our team who came from Keller Williams, and there's a Keller Williams office, I won't say, somewhere in South Africa, close by, that she said the monthly expenditure just for that office is 300,000 Rand a month, just to keep the doors open of one of the Keller Williams market centers in the Cape. 300,000 Rand a month. How'd you like to wake up with a 300,000 rand price tag hanging off the end of your ear before you even make any money? Now you add that up all around the world. Okay, what eXp have done is, Glenn says, we don't need bricks and mortar. We can operate, on the right-hand side, we can operate with very, very good technology in the cloud. We can give agents better support and better training and better platforms to run their business with. You do not need offices anymore. That's the contention. So, unbelievable technology based by eXp's platform, and the agents are at the top of this. They are the owners of the company. They share the revenues of the company. It's a mind-blowing concept. Because there's this hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars that Glenn effectively swept off the table into a bucket that we don't need. eXp is the most profitable real estate company on the planet because of this reason. There's this massive bucket of cash. And he says, well, what are we going to do with this cash now that we're not spending on bricks and mortar? Well, let me keep it. Says, no. He says, I'll tell you what, you want some, come and get some. That's what he says. And based on your level of contribution to the company, you can get a bigger and bigger slice of this massive bucket of hundreds of millions of US dollars. You want it? Come get it. And it can become a passive income by which you can retire. Unbelievable. Okay. Exactly, Glenn. So, question, is it working? Well, nice idea, Glenn, but not so fast. Is it working? I'm not sure you can run a profitable real estate company in the cloud. This is a slide from a presentation given at the Inman conference last year in America. It's one of the biggest industry conferences, not an eXp conference, just an industry conference. And one of the speakers is a guy called Mike Del Preet. Again, he's not an eXp guy. He's just an industry commentator. And his presentation at Inman was about disruption in the real estate industry. And you can actually go and find it on his YouTube channel. Go and watch the talk. He just starts talking a lot about eXp because he says these guys are the disruptors. And then he showed this slide. This is kind of like a profitability report of the major real estate companies in America, those that we've got access to the information on. And you'll see Compass at the bottom. Now, you're not going to know who Compass are, but they're a large US company. They have a highly aggressive acquisitional strategy. So they're a little bit different. What they decided to do was buy small to medium-sized real estate companies, I think it was. They've just went across America buying brokerages. But they have made, in the first, this is 3 months. Compass made looks like a $65 million loss. Guys, you can't lose that amount of money for very long. I don't care how deep your pockets are. Next one up is Anywhere. They're the largest listed real estate conglomerate in the world. They own, these are names you will know, Sotheby's, Century 21, ERA, and then a couple of the big US brands, Better Home and Garden, Corcoran. So this is a big conglomerate. Anywhere, so think Sotheby's, Century 21, ERA, made like a $50 million loss in the first quarter of last year. And so it goes on. The only profitable real estate company in America is eXp Realty. Now, this is in a contracting, very difficult economy. And yet, eXp in the first quarter made $18 million profit. Is it working? Guys, the jury's not out anymore. One of the benefits of being in South Africa is that we get to be in this opportunity early, and yet we get to look at the track record of our kind of mother and father who've done this for when they launched here. They'd been doing it for 12 years already. We get the benefit of both. We can see the track record, but we can still be in early in South Africa, which it still is, by the way. Still brand new in South Africa. We're going to be the biggest real estate company in this country. 100%. Nothing can stop it. We've been in here 3 years. 3 years, I think we're number 8 already after 3 years. 1,200 agents. Guys, nothing can stop us. You know why? Because the model is right. It's as simple as that. Incentivize agents properly and they'll come. And then provide them with world-class platforms and training. Simple. Okay, 4 disruptive pillars. I'm going to show you what they are. Number 1, a phenomenal technology platform. Number 2, phenomenal training. Number 3, an agent-owned business and revenue sharing from agent attraction. Those are the 4 primary disruptors in eXp's model. And what I'll do for the last kind of 40 minutes I've got with you is I'm just going to explain each of those in a little bit of detail. Okay, so let's start with the first one, a phenomenal technology platform. I've spoken a little bit about this already, that we're cloud-based, etc. And there's lots to see here. Obviously, I'm not going to give you a detailed description of all of our systems, etc., because that would be boring. But what's the basic deal that you are on when you join eXp? So this is what is important to you. What split am I going to be on? Okay, just listen carefully now, because I need to explain the slide to you. You're going to be on a 71-29 split when you join eXp. When you join on the 1st of the following month, it's called your anniversary date. So if you were to join today, 14th of Feb, your anniversary date will be the 1st of March every year, right? So on the 1st of March every year, you're going to begin on a 71% split. Now, why do I say 71 when the slide on the screen says 75-25? Well, if you look at the bottom point on that screen, in addition to the 25% we pay to eXp South Africa, we pay 4% to eXp International. Okay, so let's just call it what it is. You're on a 71-29 split. However, that 25% that we pay to eXp South Africa on each of our deals has a cap on it, which is very good news. What's the cap amount? When you've paid 150,000 Rand to eXp South Africa, which would mean gross commission of, who's clever? We're the mathematicians. If that's 25% we're paying and we've paid in 150, gross commission by that point would have been 600,000, right? So if you do 600,000 Rand gross commission before splits, after that, you will be a capping agent. Once you've capped, eXp say, thank you very much. You've paid in everything you need to pay in for the year. We don't want any more. You keep it. All you pay from that point onwards is the 4% to international. So you then go from a 71% split to a 96% split for the rest of your year. And then on the 1st of March, it resets again, and then you've got a cap again. So we've got a number of very fast capping agents in the room. Where's Brad Neal? I'll introduce Brad to you. I think it's later today he's speaking. Brad is somewhere in the room here. I can't see him. Brad just capped this year in 6 weeks. So 52 minus 6. He's on a 96% split for 46 weeks of the year. Liz Nanell just capped in 9 weeks. Liz, the lady who's kind of running the whole thing here, it's a superwoman. Just capped in, I think it was 9 weeks. Unbelievable. She came from, I'm dropping too many other companies. I think she came from Rawson. It's just the fact of the matter. And I think she was on a 50-50 split at Rawson. She's making millions of rands more just because of the split and the capping system. Okay, so that's the deal. How much does it cost to join eXp? There's a 900 Rand joining fee that gets you onboarded. There's a bit of admin that has to be done there by the office. So it's 900 Rand to get onboarded. And then it costs 900 Rand per month to be an eXp member. Okay, that's what you're in for, 900 bucks a month. Is there anybody here that runs their own real estate company? Like maybe a small to medium size. And are you happy to kind of give us a ballpark of what it costs you per month to run your business? Higher than that? 50. Like, and you? 8,000 Rand per agent. Okay. I've got 763 agents in my revenue, 764. 764 agents. Guess how much it costs me per month to run my eXp business? 900 Rand a month. Guys, unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And yet it's believable, it's true. I don't have to have a trust account. I don't have to have an NQF level 5 principal status. I don't have to have offices. I don't have agents phoning me all day because there's some issue with their transaction, or they can't get the listing system to work because they made some mistake on it, or they've got a client that's unhappy. I just don't get phone calls. Why? Because eXp South Africa do all of that. Folks, this is like nothing you've ever seen before. All right, a whole bunch of systems. For the 900 Rand a month, let me hit the highlights. You get everything you need to run your business. You get a world-class listing system. You get a Lightstone membership. You get unlimited listings and unlimited clicks on the portals to P24 and to private property. Now, for those of you who do run your own businesses, that'll get your attention, because I know a lot of small business owners, just for the P24 membership, they pay 5, 6, 7, 8,000 Rand a month. Just for the P24 membership. Here, you get unlimited listings, unlimited clicks on both portals. You get a virtual agent membership to get property owner details. You get a PropCon CRM system, in my view, the top CRM system in South Africa for agents. That's thrown in. If you select that as your CRM system, you've got a couple of choices with the CRM system. And internal communication tools. It's unbelievable, the technology and the platforms that we get, and it is all included for 900 Rand a month. It is like having your own real estate company with a world-class platform, with all of the syndications and the South African related technology tools, all for 900 Rand a month. We have a marketing center. So how does the branding work? I'm going to talk a little bit about the flexibility on branding. But if you choose to be an eXp branded agent, then there's a marketing center which we get access to, that you can create anything you want. All the templates are there. Boards, business cards, signage, banners, flyers, whatever you want. It's all created. It'll do little videos. It'll do social media posts from your listings on the listing system. So, wonderful marketing center. What I do want to talk about is the flexibility of the branding options. Okay, when you join eXp, you basically got one of two options here. You can either brand yourself as an eXp agent, which a lot of agents do choose to do, and the brand is becoming more and more well known, even among the general public, even though we're still so new in the country. And if you do choose that, wonderful. All the templates and the artwork are there, and you can go between there's different color options you can choose from. However, eXp from the early days realized we are going to attract a lot of independent, strong agents who have run their own business for years. Many of them would have been building their own brand. And when they come to eXp, and many of them actually bring their whole team into eXp, we'll hear from James Conyers later who did that, they've been working on this local niche brand for the last 10, 15, 20 years, and they don't want to lose it. Well, eXp quite open-handedly have said, we don't want you to lose it. Come to eXp. Behind the scenes, you shut down everything that's costing you money and that's giving you a headache as far as admin and PPRA compliance is concerned. eXp takes care of all of that, but you keep the brand, almost like a marketing face that you can just continue to wear. So let's say you've been ABC Properties. Now you can come across, you're just ABC Properties powered by eXp. Your colors can stay the same, your branding can stay the same, your email address can stay the same, your website can stay the same. All you've got to do is just add the powered by eXp logo next to your logo. That's got to get approved by Andrew and his team, but it's a simple process. And from that point onwards, you now have stripped out behind the scenes all the costs and all the admin of running your own business. But to the general public, they don't see that much has changed. In fact, all they see now is, oh, powered by eXp, they're partnering with one of the world's biggest real estate companies. That's quite exciting. I know that addresses a concern that some team leaders have. They say, I've worked hard to build my brand. I don't want to lose my brand. You don't have to. Keep your brand. Come across. Use the platform. we've got wonderful relationships with, let me actually mention Multinet because they're one of the sponsors of the event. Multinet are our bond origination partner. Do you have to use Multinet? No. Are there certain attorneys that you have to use? No. You use your own service providers, those that you're comfortable with, those that you've got relationships with, you use them. Remember, you're an independent contractor, no one tells you what to do. But if you are looking for a national organization that we've got a very strong relationship with, who do pay the best bond com in the industry, Multinet are a great solution. And Amanda Bond is here. Introduce yourself to her at the Multinet table. She has actually been assigned to my group within eXp as our consultant. So if you don't have anyone, go and introduce yourself to Amanda. What do Multinet pay? 0.5% bond commission. That's very high. It's the highest that's paid in the industry. How much of that do you share with eXp? Because if you're with like a Rawson or whatever, they'll probably take 0.4%, and if you're lucky, they'll give you 0.1%. That's how it works in normal franchises. With eXp, they do not want to participate in the third-party incomes. You keep it all for yourself. Brad Neal got a check for 40,000 Rand the other day from Multinet, from one of his bonds. That's not even the commission on the sale. So additional income streams, there's others. Funnareel and Associates sponsoring the VIP room. We got a great deal with Funnareel on insurance products. Go and chat to them if you get a chance. Okay, training. eXp have got a standalone division called eXp University. There's different kind of categories of training you got to get in your head. First of all, let's talk about global. I mean, eXp are a mammoth business globally. What training do we have access to? Well, because it's a cloud-based business, you have access to all the training that's happening for eXp agents all around the world. They have a schedule of events that you can go onto months in advance, actually, on their website, and you can just see every single day what training's happening in our avatar world. We'll show that to you once you take another step with us. And you can just pick something. Oh, look there's something on social media marketing. That looks great. I'll attend that. You just jump into the avatar world, you walk over to the correct venue, you take your seat, and you do the training. And then there's something else happening in the London auditorium on like negotiation skills. Wow, that looks cool. Let me go and do that one. Go to the London auditorium on that day, you do the training. It's all available for us. It's something like 20 to 30 training sessions happening every single day. eXp has the most training of any real estate company on the planet. Why? Because we don't have to organize venues for training. Okay, that's on the global side. On the local side, eXp South Africa have done a masterful job of putting together South African-based training for what are they called now? Candidate property practitioners. We've got a whole thing. Stuart, the trainer for eXp is here. Go to the eXp desk, introduce yourself to Stuart if you're interested in the training. To advanced training, to all of the kind of legislative, statutory training that you need to do. All of that is handled by eXp South Africa, and they do a great job with the training for South African specific issues. Then the last thing I'll say on training, I have been a real estate trainer for 20 years. That's what I've done. I haven't been a working agent. And what I did when I joined eXp 3 years ago is I said, right, I'm no longer going to offer any of my referral system training, my social media training. None of that is now on offer to the general public. That is reserved exclusively for my team within eXp. And you get access to all of my best courses when you join. Anywhere in my organization, you will get a login to have access to all of my training. So guys, there's more training than you can ever actually do. I will partner from time to time with some of the top trainers in the world. Because I've got quite a big group, I can just make a phone call to, say, Bill Pipes. He's one of the best-known coaches in the States. And I said, hey, Bill, I've got a whole team in South Africa. Can we plug into a series he was doing? He said, great. Why don't you all plug in? So we did a 7-week series with Bill Pipes. Fred Wilson, that was another phenomenal thing that I partnered with a guy that I'd met in Las Vegas. So I'm putting stuff like this on all the time for my group within eXp. Okay, the training is awesome. Number 3, agent-owned. I've said to you earlier that we get given shares in the business. Okay, now let me just double-click on that and open it a little bit. There's various ways we get access to eXp shares. First of all, where are the shares in this business? Are they like sort of private shares that we get like an IOU for? No, eXp is listed on the NASDAQ stock exchange. This is the major tech stock exchange in America. I think the listing was 2017. Glenn will correct me if I'm wrong somewhere. Where we became one of the major tech stocks. So we're there with Apple and Facebook and Cisco and Google are all listed on the NASDAQ stock exchange. When I was a kid, Glenn, I don't know how I knew this, but someone had explained to me that when you listed your company on one of the stock exchanges in America, you got to, at the end of the day, you got to ring a bell and shut down the world markets. And for some reason, when I was a kid, this is like one of my dreams. I wanted to one day shut down the world markets. It's like delusions of grandeur. Well, there's a man sitting in the front row that actually did get to push that button and shut down the world technology markets. I'm so jealous, Glenn. And the stock price has gone from whatever it was, $2, I think we're at $11 or something today, and many, many people have become financially free through the stock award. So how does it work? Okay, two types of shares you get access to. On the left-hand side, these are agent equity awards. So left-hand side there, you can't see my little dot, but then on the right-hand side, there's another type of share which I'll get into. The ones on the left, the agent equity awards, are shares that you get given. You don't pay for them. They are given to you. Now, how does that work? Well, there's a few ways. Your first sale every year, so this is an annual award, you get given 2,000 rands worth of shares. They convert that into US dollars. They round it up, if it's halfway in between, which it will be just about every time. And then they put those shares, let's say you've purchased 5 shares or something, they take those 5 shares and they put it in a Morgan Stanley account for you. Every single eXp agent in the world has got a ShareWorks account. It's a Morgan Stanley trading account that they open for you and they put the shares in there. Okay, these shares on the left, they take 3 years to vest. What does it mean that shares take 3 years to vest? It means you don't take legal ownership of the shares for 3 years. You can't sell them within the 3 years. If you leave the company, boo-hoo for you, you forfeit the shares. But you know what? Fair enough. They're giving the shares to you. So, 2,000 Rand on your first sale every year. Then, when you cap, so you do your 600,000 gross commission, you've paid in your 150, eXp will then say to you, hey, congratulations for capping. Here's 4,000 Rands worth of shares. Ka-ching, go into your Morgan Stanley account. Then, if you were, I'm going to get into the revenue sharing side of things later, but if you introduce eXp to other agents, and the way eXp system works is no one can join eXp as an agent worldwide without listing an existing eXp agent as the person who introduced them to the company. That's technically called, we call that person their sponsor. It doesn't mean they're paying for you. It just means that's the person that introduced you to the business. It's like a referral system. People can't just join eXp willy-nilly. You have to be referred by an existing eXp agent. Now, what happens if I introduce it to Jay, and Jay takes a look at this video, and Jay says to me, hey man, this looks pretty good. I think I'm going to join eXp. He signs his contract. He puts my name as his sponsor. Jay then does his first deal with eXp, concludes a transaction. Ka-ching! eXp say to me, so he's going to get 2,000 Rand for his first sale, right? eXp say to me, Stephen, well done for bringing in a productive agent into the community of eXp agents. You are helping grow the company. Now, you should get compensated for that. We're going to give you 4,000 Rands worth of shares for bringing a productive agent into the company. If you bring in 100 agents, and they each do a deal, you're going to get given 400,000 Rands worth of shares. And what will that be worth in 10 years' time? Let's say you've got a 10-year exit plan. You want to be retired in 10 years. Let's say you own 500,000 Rands worth of eXp shares. What will the share price be in 10 years? Obviously, I don't know. But what will it be of the fastest growing real estate company in the history of the world in 10 years' time? What will the share price be? Guys, it could be, I'm not allowed to say numbers. Just let your mind go. How many shares in your company, if you're not with eXp, how many shares do you own? Have they given you ownership of the business? All right, then on the other side of that, there's a thing called the Agent Equity Program. This is another beautiful way to accumulate shares. What eXp will do is, if you elect on your contract when you sign it, there's a little block that you've got to tick. You don't have to tick it. You can say, no, I don't want to participate in that. But I think you'd be foolish if you did. You tick the block that says, I want to participate in this program. What they will do, every time you do a deal, they will withhold a further 5% of your commissions. So it's still your money. They're not taking it from you. They're just redirecting it. And they will purchase eXp shares for you at a 5% discount. That's nice. You're getting discounted US dollar NASDAQ listed shares getting put into your ShareWorks account. Now these shares you do own immediately. If you wanted to, you can go and sell them the same day. Again, I think you'd be foolish to do that. What I'm telling agents to do is tick the block, participate in the Agent Equity Program. Let's say you work as an agent for another 10 years and you want to retire. Not only are you getting given all the free shares through those 10 years, but now you're also taking 5% of all of your commissions and investing it at a discount into the shares. Guys, most real estate companies have not sat down and asked themselves, how can we genuinely help our agents to retire comfortably? Is that an unfair statement? No, it's not. All they want to know is, how many deals did you do this month? How many deals did you do this month? If you're a franchise owner, you've got terms and conditions in that franchise agreement that you signed coming out your ears. They're not interested in whether you want to spend more time with your family, you want to travel more. Well, this is what Glenn said. He said, I am an agent. If I were to join a real estate company, what would I want it to do? I would want it to care for me. You know why this works? You know why this is the fastest growing real estate company in history? Because it's the first time a real estate company has genuinely invested its entire model in being agent focused. It's for you. True story. One more way to get shares. If you are one of the top agents in the world in eXp, you become what's known as an icon agent. There's obviously in each country, it's got its own level. In South Africa, there's a couple of ways, but the main way is if you do 3 million rand gross commission, you will be an icon agent in South Africa. What do they do if you become an icon? Okay, just get your head around this. If I'm an icon agent, 3 million gross commission, in my first month or two, like Brad and Lisner, I would have paid in my 150,000 rand on my cap, right? From that point onwards, I would have been on a 96% split. When I become an icon, I hit my 3 million rand mark. eXp take that 150 that I paid them and they give it back to me in the form of eXp shares. So how much does it cost the icon agents to be at eXp all year round? 4%. This is why the top agents in the world are coming across to eXp, because of the icon program. Folks, no one can compete with this. They're all coming. They're all coming, Jay. Just a matter of time. Okay, last one. Revenue sharing. Just get the idea now. eXp take a split on their agents' transactions, pre-cap. In South Africa, 25%. They've now got a bunch of revenue, but it's in a bucket. They don't need it all. Now they say, okay, we want to share this revenue back with the agents. How are we going to do that? Well, let's do it as if, let's treat them like owners, because they are owners. If I own a traditional real estate company and I want to expand, what do I have to do? I've got to recruit agents. So put a sign up and I do interviews and they come and I've got to give them a desk and a chair and a telephone and whatever else. And then I take a split on their transactions. And if I want to make more, I'm going to recruit another agent and another agent and another agent. And I'm going to take a split on their transactions. So just understand, folks, this is normal practice in the real estate industry. What eXp say is, if my name was put on the contract by Jay, he put my name as his sponsor because I introduced eXp to him. When Jay does a transaction, eXp get 25%. They are going to take part of that 25% and they're going to give it to me because I introduced him, because I'm part of the ownership of the business. And if I've introduced more people, whenever they do deals, eXp will take part of their portion and give it to me. The point I'm trying to make here, guys, is the revenue sharing that I get is not from Jay. He's keeping his commissions. eXp are sharing their portion with me. It's awesome. Okay, so how does it work? If you introduce someone to eXp, you become their sponsor. All you've got to do, it's a simple process. Go to themodelexplain.co.za, get a nice cup of coffee for your mate, and say, sit down, watch this. At the end of the video, his eyes will be like this. You're like, are you joining? I've already joined. How do I join? A percentage of the people you show are going to join. eXp will then pay you up to 21,000 Rand. I can tell you the percentage is 3.5% you earn on agents that you've personally sponsored. That's what we call your tier 1 agents. You get paid 3.5% of all of their transactions up until the point they cap. Once they've capped, they're now no longer paying eXp anything, so there's no revenue to share. It's a revenue sharing. So then you don't make revenue share anymore for the rest of that 12 months. That's why it's a maximum of 21,000 Rand per year for each agent you sponsor. That's great. Let's say I sponsor 10 people, and they're all capping agents. I'm going to make 210,000 Rand a year. Nice extra income. But what if Jay, my mate, knows someone? Jay knows Jen. And he says, Jen, you got to watch this video. This thing's unbelievable. He goes over to Jen's house. He shows her the video. Jen says, that's the best thing I've ever seen in my life. I'm joining. Jen joins. Okay, it's not that complicated. Jen is on Jay's first tier, right? He's her sponsor. But Jen is on my standard grade. Don't laugh. I did standard grade maths in matric. Okay? And look at me now. She's on my second tier. What eXp will do is they will pay me 4% of all of Jen's transactions up until the point she caps. I get more than Jay does. It's a very clever system because what it does is it incentivizes me to help Jay help other people see the model. It drives growth. Very clever. I make up to 24,000 Rand a year on Jennifer's transactions. But what if Jennifer knows Mary? And what if Mary knows Seaton? Well, what eXp's system does is it pays us revenue share through 7 generations. Okay, you track the lineage of agents through who sponsored who sponsored who sponsored who. We get paid through 7 generations of our organization. So when I say to you, I've got 764 agents, which is a small number compared to those that we're going to be hearing from in the next 2 days. That's 760 odd people through the 7 generations of my revenue share team. Okay, there are a few other T's and C's. You've got to unlock tiers 2 till 7. We can get into that personally with you in a discussion. I coached a guy in France. His name was Frank Brisson was his name. I coached him for about 3 months. He found me on some website and I did some coaching, but the language barrier was so difficult with Frank that, we loved each other, but we just couldn't make it. I was like Google translating stuff and emailing him. I don't know what the French, I just sent it to him. So in the end, we parted ways. Then a couple of years later, I joined eXp when I was approached and I saw this thing and my eyes were like some of your eyes here today. I was like, whoa, that is unbelievable what I've just seen there. So I joined, and then I don't know if it was 6 months later, whatever, eXp France launched. So I sent an email to Frank, And my email, it's just very short because I knew he couldn't handle much. I just said, Dear Frank, please watch this video. Powerful company in France or something. Said it to him. Didn't hear anything. Forgot about it. About 3 or 4 months later, I get an email. All it said was, Dear Steven, I want to join. I said, Joie de vivre. No, I don't know what the correct French response to that would be. But, so I think, wow, that's unbelievable. Let's go on to eXp France's website. So eXp France, Google, I found click it. I like, top right-hand corner, you could change it to English. Change it to English. I find the join button. Click it, I get the link. Copy the link in an email. I said, Frank, click here. Send it to him. Again. So Frank joins. 6 months goes by. Nothing. Turns out Frank is completely useless. But one day, I had quite a big revenue share payment, and I was going through the list of payments because we get a complete dashboard. You can see every transaction in your whole organization. Everything's transparent. I'm going through and I'm thinking like, gee, why is it so big? I'm going through, and I get paid on average, let's say 2,000 Rand. Obviously, it fluctuates on the house and where the level the agent's on, etc. But let's say 2,000 to 2,500 Rand per transaction on average. I'm scrolling through, and suddenly I see this transaction. I got paid 12,500 Rand on one transaction. And I look across. Wouldn't you know? Frank! Frank has gone and sold something on the south of France. Since that time, through my organization, now these are not even personal people I've sponsored. We've got an agent in Dubai, 2 in Dubai, in fact. I've got an agent in the UK. I've got an agent in America. There's one other country. New Zealand. I've got an agent in New Zealand. Understand this, guys. If I wanted to start a real estate company in France with the traditional model of real estate, what would I have to do? I'd have to travel to France. I'd have to get a translator. I'd have to somehow get a working permit or some kind of authority to run a business in France, which I don't know if I could get. I'd then have to hire a manager of that business. We'd have to find office space. I'd have to invest, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of rands in euros now to go and start my business in France. We'd have to start recruiting agents and have a training program in France. You know what, guys? There is not a person in this room that is going to go and start a real estate company in France. It's just not going to happen. Let alone then expanding that business to Dubai, to the UK, to America, and to New Zealand, and to 24 countries in total. Folks, get your head around that. I have agents all over the world who do transactions, and I get paid on those transactions. And I'm not providing anything for them. eXp are doing all the legwork, and it costs me 900 Rand a month. It's mind-blowing. All right. I just want to give you an idea. Let's just put rands and cents to it. It's never going to work this linear. If you show the video to 10 people and they each do the same, it's never going to work exactly like that. But I just want to show you, some will do more, some will do less. But if you were to show the video to 10 agents, and they, like 89,000 other agents around the world, take a look at that and say, you know what, that is a no-brainer. I'm joining. And then over a period of time, let's say you give yourself a 5-year exit plan to become free on the passive income on revenue share. And it's passive income, eh? You're not doing any of the transactional support or the heavy lifting. eXp are doing all of that. It's passive income. You give yourself 5 years, you want to retire. You're just going to sponsor 10 people. They each do the same. What would be a nice, now don't be ridiculous, okay, because this is only 10 people you're sponsoring, but what would be a nice little like pocket money income every month to be earning from just sponsoring 10 people? What would be nice? You're not going to go and buy a private yacht with this, okay, I can tell you now. Would it be nice to earn an extra 20 grand a month? What would that make? Would that make a difference to your life? How about an extra 30 grand a month? Would an extra 50 grand a month make a difference to your life? You sponsor 10, they each sponsor 10. If they're producing agents, you'd be earning 2.6 million rand a year in revenue share. And God willing, we are going to get a lot bigger. We are going to drive this thing because there is proper wealth to be made in the next 5 or 10 years with eXp. Proper wealth. You can have a slice of it. Come and join us on this journey. This is not pie in the sky, guys. You're going to hear from speakers throughout the 2 days that are living proof of this and far more. I can't even tell you what Sheila Fejeran earns on revenue share. You won't believe me if I tell you. I will leave that to Sheila. She can decide what she shares and what she doesn't. Okay, if you're not an eXp agent, here's what I suggest you do. Go to expsouthafrica.co.za/join-our-team. Or just go to the eXp South Africa website. You'll find a button that says Become an Agent. Okay? If you go to that page, scroll down to the bottom, there's a button that says Become an Agent. Click that button. Don't worry, when you click the button, you're not becoming an agent immediately. It's just a process that has to unfold. Okay? You click that button, it's going to take you to a terms and conditions page. Say, I'm ready. Yes, I'm ready. Don't worry. Fill in the form. That's the next page. It's just a form to fill in. All it does is it triggers 2 emails. The one just says, hi, thanks for your thing. We'll be back in touch with you shortly. Second one comes later in the day. It's got a link to the contract in it. You don't want to sign something that you haven't read. If you want to read the contract for eXp, that's how you get access to the contract. And I would suggest to you that should be part of your due diligence. Read the contract. I can tell you now there's nothing you need to worry about. There's no restraints of trade. You can take your listings with you if you leave. This business is completely open-handed. If you don't like it here, bless you. Bless you. And I can tell you now, that's my opinion. If you are not happy at eXp and my team and you want to move on somewhere else, bless you as you go, and I will help you in any way that I can to make the transition smooth if you want to go somewhere else. You know why? Because it's not about me. It's about you. It's about your family. It's about your kids. It's about your future. You would think the way some principals treat agents in this country is that they own them like slaves, like chattel. The way these guys enforce their restraints of trade. To me, it is despicable. We don't own anybody, and we should have our hands open. You should provide a platform and a system that is so good that agents don't want to leave. That's what your job is. Okay, second thing, do a save me beta test. Some of you are like, if you're here as a guest, you're thinking, look, I got to admit, that looks pretty good. But I need like someone else, because maybe there's some special stuff in the coffee they put in here that like is, you know, there's something in the Kool-Aid, you know. Here's what you do. You grab your closest friends in real estate. Grab like 3 or 4 of your closest mates who are estate agents and just say this to them. I have just seen something that has completely blown my mind. I am, against my better judgment, I'm getting pretty excited about this opportunity, but I need you to save me if I'm about to do something stupid. Would you take a look at this thing with me and just give me your opinion? Is that an easy conversation to have? Dead simple. Make that phone call. Here's what will happen. If you show 5 people this evening, tomorrow, the next week, one of them at least is going to join you immediately. That's what's going to happen. And you're going to have a revenue share team that begins to grow.